Hello and welcome again to the Millennium Beat. My name is Nelson Melendez. I am the co-host of El Palpital del Milenio. And I just want to say hello to everyone. Thank you for tuning in one more time. Today we have an interesting show. It's going to be done in English. Hoy el programa, gracias a todos por venir y estar sintonado con nosotros otra vez. Este es su servidor Nelson Meléndez y le quiero dar las gracias por estar otra vez conectado con nosotros. Quiero hoy decirle que va a ser un programa bien interesante porque tenemos un joven que es para mí una persona súper valiente. The young man that I have here today is a super valiant young man. He's been through a lot. And I'm just going to get into the show because there's a lot to talk about and we're limited in time. So le quiero dar las gracias a todos por estar. El programa va a ser en inglés. Si cualquier cosa pueden conseguir a alguien que le introduzca, pues háganlo. Pero va a ser un programa fenomenal. Phenomenal. Ahí está. Gracias. What's up, Watts?
Hello, everybody at the Millennium Beach, or I mean not beach, beat, yeah, beat. I'm Junior Pastor Watson Malave from Iglesia Casa de Mana. I am also the youth leader, and it's a beautiful blessing to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Let's get into the interview real quick because there's a lot to talk about. As I've come to know over the years that I've known you, your history about what has happened, with the loss of your dad and how you were launched into diving into your dad's shoes and being the man of the family. I'm pretty sure it was not easy. And I understand that it was rough for you because you had to grow up quickly. So, having said that, go ahead and tell us your story.
Um, for me, I was always the oldest of all my siblings. I was the oldest one.
How many are there?
There's blood related. There's two younger sisters, and then I have several step and one half sister.
Okay.
Thanks to my mom remarrying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but from the main three children, I was always the oldest, and I'm the only boy. So yeah,
You got surrounded by women.
yeah. So I knew my father, or got to know him with half of my experience when I was little, with him with life. Like he could move, he could run, he could do a bunch of stuff. When I started getting older, the second half of that little time,
What age was that you went into the second half?
my dad died when I was 10.
Okay.
So I would say from 0 to 5 or 1 to 5, that was when like he was alive. He was, doing good. Around the age of 6, 7, that's when his health started decreasing and
Okay.
went downhill. There's a bunch of stuff. He had diabetes, as
Yeah.
and the diabetes consumed him. He lost several limbs. He lost a leg.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Yeah, and I think my mom, because my mom is one of the most strongest people I know. Like,
Yes, she is.
she will fight through any disease, any pain, and she'll take care of you. And she took care of my dad for a long time.
Yeah.
So I thank her with all the passion, all everything. Other than me and my mother, she was a nurse to my father, and
Yeah.
I give her thanks for that.
Yeah. She is a strong woman. She is,
yeah.
and very wise.
Yeah, very strong leader as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get straight into it. So, from as soon as I got 6 to 7 years old, that's when his health started decreasing, as I said, and it went super downhill around the age of 9 to 10, where he was doing dialysis, which is 8 hours in a machine, sucking your blood. It was the one time in the center, like in a reality center, then to the home. So I've been used to seeing a hospital. I've been to eating hospital food because I used to grow up with him at the hospital.
Yeah.
So I was used to seeing boxes. I was used to seeing delivery vans giving us boxes full of those waters for the dialysis.
Yeah, dialysis. Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff. I'm used to that. And I think when you're in your most pain, that's when God uses you the most.
Yes.
And I think when my father died, because he died in 2020 when I
Hmm.
was 10, and my sisters were both relatively young. Like, my second
Hmm.
youngest, the middle one, she was 7. Then the
Keka.
youngest, yeah, Kika,
Hmm.
the youngest she was like 3, 2 years
Okay.
old by that
She was
time.
still a baby.
Yeah, she was still young. And remember, she had autism, so it was a
Hmm.
little bit harder for her to accept the fact
Yeah.
and help. So it was a very challenging process for that little
And the little one is
stretch.
Tina.
Yes.
Okay.
It was very challenging for that little stretch because there was somebody who was dying because we have to accept the facts.
Hmm.
I saw my father going from hero
Hmm.
to zero,
Hmm.
straight up. I can't lie. We saw him dying in front of our eyes.
Hmm.
And I thank God that he gave me the opportunity to see him when he was a Superman.
Hmm.
When I used to throw the football with him or whatever
Hmm.
outside, to see him, being down, being sick in a hospital bed. Because when we were even at the house, he had a hospital bed.
Hmm.
So it's even more challenging.
Yeah.
So I think relatively to the fact when my father died, it changed a lot of aspects.
Right.
It changed the house aspect was way different
Hmm.
because now it was just one parent,
Hmm.
one single mother,
Hmm.
right? Or a widow mother at that
Hmm.
time. And then at the church it was way different too.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure.
yeah, it was way different because you're used to seeing that male
Hmm.
pastor, right? And as soon as my mom took up the lead as that main pastor to
Hmm.
lead all the sheep,
Yeah.
a lot of people were there to judge
Hmm.
because it's weird. It's unusual to see
Yeah.
a female pastor take a lead
Yeah.
and becoming that shepherd to all the sheep.
Yeah.
And my mom persevered that, and now we're here, and she has her husband
Hmm.
who has that calling to be a pastor as
Obi.
well. Yes.
Yes. Sweet man.
Yes, amazing
I
man, by
love
the way.
him. I
Yeah.
love him. Yeah.
Sometimes we butt
He
heads.
harasses me a lot, but I still love
I
him.
don't know.
Yeah, I forgive him in the Lord.
And I'm pretty sure that's you most of the time.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
you're on
yeah.
his side. Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah. I mean, we butt
I
on heads.
feel the love right
Yeah,
now.
we butt on heads a lot, but I love that man to death.
Yeah,
Like,
no, he's a good man. He's
yeah,
a good man.
like he looks just like me too. So he looks more like I look more like him than my dad. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know.
No, he is a good man. He
Yeah,
is
he's a
good
good
man.
person. Yeah, of course.
And I think that you also understand the aspect of where when your mom took over the church,
Yeah,
a lot of people were like, well, they're stuck in the Old Testament
yeah,
where women didn't pastor or were in positions of leadership. But we're not in the Old Testament anymore. We're in the New
yeah.
Testament.
And also, what added to the situation was it was COVID. It was 2020.
Yeah.
So a bunch of churches were shutting down. People were getting sick, dying, and there was people who wanted that fresh water of
Hmm.
Christ. And our church surprisingly never closed during COVID. It
Yeah, I
stayed
heard about
strong
that. Yeah.
every Thursday, every Sunday, every Thursday. Nobody had even got COVID.
Hmm. Yeah.
So God has blessed us so much with that church
Yeah.
aspect. And
Well, let me interrupt you there.
yeah,
My
of
wife
course.
and I got COVID,
Yes.
but we didn't even know we had it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and we took the test and we got COVID, and I'm like, I didn't feel anything,
Yeah.
you know?
I
But
mean, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that the Lord had guided us.
Hmm.
Because as I said before, when you're at your most saddest, your most weakest,
Hmm.
that's when a champion shows up. That's
Yeah.
when God uses you.
Yeah.
Right? There's many examples in the Bible. Like look at David.
Hmm.
David was what? Working with the sheep outside
Yeah.
while everybody else was getting attention
Hmm.
because they worked strong, whatever.
Yeah.
But who was the one who was called the king?
Hmm.
The
David.
one who was outside working with the sheep.
Yep.
The one who smelled bad because he was working with the
Hmm.
sheep.
Yeah.
So,
The outcast,
yeah, the one who
the
didn't-
black sheep.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
black sheep.
The black sheep. Yeah.
No, but I think as respectfully to the church aspect, a lot of people judge, a lot of people looked at it weird because my father had died and they expected the church to shut down.
Hmm.
They expected that the Holy Spirit that was in that place was gonna shut down and move to a next one,
Yeah.
which I love that we proved them wrong
Hmm.
and that God has guided us to
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And God, I just need to give thanks to God because God literally did guide us through some very hard times.
One question.
Of course.
I am sure.
Yeah.
I am sure that you had a lot of stress on your shoulders because you had to deal with school. You had to deal with being the man of the house. You had to be at the church. You had so much responsibility. And I could see it because I started going to the church in visiting with my wife
Yeah, around 2021. Yeah,
around
I remember.
20.
Yeah.
Well, she was visiting here and there. And then we met in 2020 when we got together. And then in 2021, we both started going
Yeah.
to the church. And I could see the stress on your shoulders, the weight. And I was like, my God, this guy he's carrying all this. How does he do it? How did you get through it?
I actually don't know. Like, one of my biggest role models I will always say is my mom. Like,
Hmm.
my mom will carry all of our burdens and double that to make sure everything looks well.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I was pretty stressed. I was pretty, I'm not gonna lie. When that happened, right, the position where my dad was dying, he needed a kidney.
Hmm.
And we were so close to that miracle, it was so sad.
Yeah.
So I had anger with God,
Hmm.
right?
I'm
Because
sure.
how could a man who struggled for so many years and you healed him for so much different things, and the miracle's almost there, that miracle that will save his life is right there. He just needed to stay one more month alive, but then he died.
Hmm.
So I was pretty angry at God. I was very mad. I was very it was a very weird big change
Hmm.
because I thought God would guide us into that point where my dad could get the kidney
Hmm.
and everything could go back normal. And then my
Right.
sisters will see the dad
Hmm.
who was a Superman, who threw the football outside,
Hmm.
who cooked, who did that.
Hmm.
But sadly, reality is a pain sometimes.
Yeah.
And I would say that the reason why I kept going was because God had helped us.
Yeah.
Because I saw the position my mom was in, and I knew she was even with more burdens and more pain.
Hmm.
So I was like, I can't give up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
that's
think,
good.
yeah, I think everybody thinks it's corny or whatever, but that lesson of never giving up
Hmm.
is a lesson that we all need to have.
Yes.
If you have that perseverance, you can
Yes.
go through a long mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I I'm gonna say it. I've never told you this, but I admire you. I do. How old are you right now?
I am 14.
14 years old.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna say it this way: you've been through hell in these years, these couple years, with the burden of being the man of the house. I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah, of course,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, it was what I'm talking about is you had all this on you from the moment your dad started getting sick and you started seeing his trend going deeper and deeper down. You started stepping up more and more until you were running with it. And I could see in your eyes you were tired. I could see it in your eyes when I started going to the church at the old building, the little building. And I used to pray for you because I couldn't imagine what you were going through. I'd never been through that. I've had friends that have been through it, but I have never seen it where I didn't see the person who passed away and then see the child go through what you went through. But I was told by my wife the story, and I heard parts from you and the pastor, and I was like, wow, man, Lord, you gave this kid strength. You gave him wisdom and understanding on how to run with this. And I'm sure you wanted to give up at times, but you saw your mom. And I think that's, like you said, what encouraged you to pursue, to keep going forward.
Yeah. My mom will be my biggest role model, my biggest thing. I always tell my mom, like, my mom will be at the top
Hmm.
because she has done so much for me. She has sacrificed so much, and she's sacrificed so much for the church because she has a genuine love for it.
Yeah,
And she
she
has done
does.
so much. She has cried so much. She has shedded tears
Hmm.
and stuff. So seeing her in that position, it made me not wanting to give up.
Hmm.
It made me wanting to know more.
Hmm.
Because the more deeper you know about God,
Yeah.
the more you fall in love.
Yes.
Like when we have those talks in the car or whatever,
Yes.
talk about how deeper you can go into the
Yeah.
to the word or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I love
And we have some
yeah.
great conversations when we're
Yeah.
together talking about the
And
Lord.
you know me. I love history. I love learning more. I love learning deeper. I want to be the guy that when you're having a conversation, I can shock you with something you didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that also I think 2020 was a very good year. If you look at it in retrospect, even though I was going through all that pain, it
And
meant,
COVID.
yeah, and COVID, and that my dad passed or whatever. It gave me and my family hope
Yeah.
that there was something else to look forward to, and it gave us all more knowledge and strength to go through it.
Yeah.
Because my sisters are other warriors as well. My mom
Yes.
is also.
Yes.
I'm also one.
Yeah.
So especially on my sisters, because they're more on the younger side, especially the tinier one.
Yeah.
Um, so I know it affected them a little bit more than it affected me, because I'm older. I could process it
Yeah. Yeah.
more simpler, more quicker,
Yeah.
and especially for both of them, you could see that they were very sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see
Everybody
that when
can
I
be
came
sad,
to the
but
church. Yeah, I could see the sadness, mainly in Tina, more in Tina than Keka, because Keka, I could see her adjusting.
yeah,
You know, I could see her like seeing your strength and your mom's strength. I could see her trying to, okay, I got to do something here. I could actually see that in her. I could
Yeah.
see the motivation in her spirit that she had to proceed forward
yeah.
too.
Kika's a great leader. Like in retrospect, if you looked at it, Kika seems like if we look at Kika now, Kika's always in the corner dancing,
Yeah,
because she's always
harassing me,
yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, she's always in the corner. She's always talking. She's always
I'm surprised you
dancing.
didn't say I'm the one harassing her.
She's always dancing. She's
Yeah.
always in the front dancing.
Yeah,
She was doing the offerings the other day, and yeah, Geika's a great leader. Geika has the willpower to
Yeah.
become a great leader,
Yes,
a
she does.
very wisdom-packed
Yes.
leader.
yes, yes,
Because pain builds experience.
Yes.
Pain gives you that. Pain is a tool that if you could take advantage of that tool, you become stronger and wiser.
You're speaking with so much wisdom. For a boy of 14 years old, I'm gonna say it this way because this is the truth. This is what I see and hear. You speak like an adult. You with the way you say things, you speak so deep because he is very knowledgeable in the Bible. And we sat together in restaurants and we've talked at church and we've talked when we do things together. And he's still a 14-year-old. You're still a 14-year-old.
Yes.
But yet you speak with such conviction and strength. And I'm like, how does he do it? But I see that it's your faith in God that has brought you here.
Yeah.
And you always say that, God is good, been
Yeah,
good
God
to
is
me.
good all the time. All the time, God is great. I've always said when you're going through the storm, God is always there. He's
Yes.
always going to be there.
Yes.
I'm a big wrestling fan. So God's always there waiting for that.
Yes, I
tag
know. Tina told me
Yeah.
you like wrestling.
So he's always there waiting for you to tag him in
Yes.
to help you.
Yes.
I've always used that example.
Yes.
Like I was saying, pain gives you that. If you can take advantage of pain and become stronger and
Yes.
better,
Mhm.
then you became a better person. There's always a lesson to your thing, and that also builds a story.
Right.
Like when they look at you, like for me, you see me as a super goofball. I'm always doing something
Yes,
funny.
he could be a goofball.
Yeah. But as soon as we need to get serious,
Yes.
I'm the most serious guy you know.
Yes.
And you see
Yes.
that in the back.
Yes.
Especially when you're doing weird stuff in the back and I have to tell you to stop.
Hold on. You're instigating now. See, I'm gonna calm you down there.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
your mint. But no, go ahead.
No, pero yeah, like I was saying, pain is something you take advantage of and you make it better. Because you can't just sit in sorrow and
Yeah.
pain.
Right.
Because if you let it just sit there, it boils up and it makes it bigger and bigger and
Yes.
bigger.
Yes.
I've always said to get people always say that to get from better from a breakup or from a loss, you exercise.
Yes.
And I've always said it doesn't necessarily mean exercising physically, because you can be the most jackest person, most strongest person, but mentally and spiritually
There
you
you
are
go.
weak, you are dull, you are sad. And sometimes when it says exercise, it means to exercise your brain, exercise your knowledge. Get deeper into knowledge.
Yes.
Pick a subject you like and learn it.
Yes.
Get it better. Learn it from front to back, like in a book. You learn it from the cover to the back to every single page.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people need to learn more about God. Because when you read
Go
the
ahead, take
Bible,
it. I know you want it. Go ahead, go for it.
when you read the Bible stuff, it's one of the greatest. It's the greatest book ever.
Yes, it
has
is. Yes.
poetry. It has love books.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much emotion and literature inside
Yes.
of one book.
Yes.
It's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a story about love,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many stories about love.
I have a question for you concerning,
Yes.
since you brought it up.
Yes.
I was thinking last night that the Bible's like a soap opera, or our life is like a soap opera.
Yeah, like a novela. Yeah.
Yeah, a novela. Yeah, like they say in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Like I've always said, God picks his most toughest warriors for the most struggles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In our lives, sometimes it's like a video game. I'm a big gamer too, and I've always
Yeah.
said, life is like a video game. You pick options, and those options you have to stick with those options until the end of the game.
Yes.
Or until the next level where you upgrade.
Yeah.
So I've always said that's always my big thing. But going back to what we were talking about the Bible, it's one of those books where if you need anything, it can give you a lesson. It can give you a
Yes.
lesson about obedience. And the first thing about obedience is in what? The first ever book. And the first ever book is what? Genesis.
Genesis.
It has over what? 50 chapters?
Mm-hmm.
And in those 50 chapters, you have love, deception, and hate, sin. What else? And you learn
Faith.
faith, yeah, obedience,
Trust, obedience.
trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also brings, because we can't always talk about the positive. We always have to talk about the negative.
Yeah.
'Cause that's also part of the story. You can't just block one side of the story. So, in Genesis, the first book of the Bible, it gives you all the principles, all the lessons you're going to get from there. You get it from the next chapters in the Bible.
Yeah.
All the other chapters in the Bible are just a retelling of Genesis.
Yes.
And if,
Yes.
as soon as you look at Exodus, what's Exodus?
Yeah.
God sending Moses to take his people out of where? Egypt. And Egypt was mentioned in Genesis because in the last book and the last chapters of Genesis, what
Yes.
happened? Joseph was in Egypt. Why? Because he was a pharaoh.
Yeah. Abraham was told before he passed away that from his seed, the nation of Israel would come,
Yeah.
and that they would go into slavery for 440 years.
And you know what's an interesting part too, if you think about it? God promised Abraham the stars. That would be how big his generation
Yes.
and his descendants would be. And if you look at the Bible, you look at his bloodline, a bunch of the most important people in the Bible come from Abraham.
Yes.
Isaac, Jacob. Who's Jacob? Jacob is the guy who fights the literal embodiment of God to get
Yeah.
the name Israel.
Israel, yeah.
And the thing is, in the story of Jacob, and I'm going to unpack this real quick. In Jacob's story, he is the brother that lies to his other brother to sell him his birthright from a soup, and then he leaves because he knows that that brother's going to attack him.
Yeah.
'Cause remember, it's two nations, Jacob's nation and his brother's nation.
Esau.
Yeah, Esau. So Jacob escapes and goes where? To his uncle for help. That's where he starts working. He meets his wife, and then that's where
Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel. He works those 7 years. He gets.
He gets deceived
He
for
gets-
another 7.
Yeah, he has
For
to work
Leah.
40, yeah.
He's given Leah, then Rachel. Yeah.
And after that, what happens? He goes up to the mountain. He sees God. He fights him. He gets the name Israel. And what happens when he gets to see Esau? Peace. Nothing bad was happening.
Yeah.
He had that anxiety build up on him that he thought his brother was
Yeah.
going to attack him, was going to hurt him.
Because his mom said so.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Esau said that he would get his vengeance,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
but he never did because God healed his heart. Yeah.
And I think that's also, if you want to look at pain, look at Esau pain. Esau, if you look at it from a perspective of siblings, what does it say in the Bible?
Yeah.
As soon as they're introduced, it's two nations in one womb.
Yeah.
The oldest will serve the youngest. Remember, the oldest will serve the youngest. And if we look at Genesis, if you look at Genesis,
Yeah.
it talks about who? Joseph, right? What happens? He tells his dream about how his brothers will serve him. He gets sold as a slave to Egypt.
Yeah.
And what happens at the end? His brothers go down and serve him as Pharaoh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can see in his heart, being the oldest, that it had to bother him.
Yeah.
Because remember, he doesn't know. He thought he would get the birthright or whatever.
Yeah.
But after what happens, that he
Yeah.
sold it for that soup
Yeah.
and whatever, when he finds out the story from his mom, I know he had to be vengeful. He had to be mad.
Yeah.
He was going to get what he was.
But
his
it was all
supposedly.
part of the plan.
Of course. God's plan will happen from the good, simple way to the most extreme ways. Like the story of we were just talking about Joseph. It went to the extreme that he got to be sold as a slave
Yeah.
for him to get
There
his
was the
blessing.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about it. Joseph was a man who was wise. He wasn't a man who was relatively strong enough.
Right.
Or strong.
He was a book knowledge.
Yeah.
He knew the Bible. He knew about.
He knew the numbers. He knew the skies. He knew
Yes.
everything that
Yes.
needed to be known
Yeah.
to be a man of power. A man who was in charge of power. Like if I was telling you, in this world that we're living in now, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
In a world full of money, knowledge is power. 'Cause you
Yes.
you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the knowledge to use it,
There you go. Didn't I tell you he's smart? I tell you, this guy is 14 years old, and look at the wisdom that he has. And I know that he got the wisdom from the Holy Spirit, through the Word, through his experiences in life. Our time is coming short. I would like to do another show with you.
of course,
But I know there's still more.
of course,
Believe me, I know there's still more. I've known you for 4 years, and I know there's still more. I'm going to close the show now, but I want to say thank you, because I know that this testimony is going to encourage others who have gone through what you're going through and gave up. And if they're going through it now, it'll encourage them to keep going forward. Don't give up because of what the situation you're placed in. It's not just people going through what you went through, in life in general.
yeah.
You know, I mean, not everybody has it that difficult. I mean, but still, you've come a long way. For 14 years old, you've come a long way, Watson. And I'm proud of you. I know your mom is. She's very proud of you. Your sisters, your dad. I am. My wife is proud of you. Everyone at the church is. And we know what you've been through, and we really love you, and we really care for you. I always tell Keka, you guys have a big place in my heart and in my wife's heart. You guys are very special, very special. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Of course, yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot more that is going to be said. And I'm going to interrupt you less then. Because I want to hear more. I want to hear more. I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching. I pray that you see the challenges he's been through and compare them to yours and say, wow, I'm not going through anything that bad. But there is a way out, and that's trusting in the Lord, and that's what he did. He trusted in the Lord to give him strength and wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And if he did it, I know you can do it. I want to say thank you to all of you who are seeing the show right now. Please tune in again, because there's still more, and there's going to be other shows, as you know. Le quiero dar las gracias a todos los que están viendo el programa. Le pido al Señor que ustedes sean fortalecidos por el testimonio de Él. Que ustedes puedan ver su situación y puedan decir, caramba, yo no lo tengo tan duro. Él sí le fue duro y solamente tiene 14 años. Le quiero dar las gracias y me quiero despedir, pero acuérdense siempre, como el refrán que dice, tocando el mundo, una historia a la vez. And I want to say goodbye by saying, we are encouraging the world one story at a time. You can see the show at millenniumbeat.com, on YouTube, and there's other shows that you can see. I ask that you would see them because they are a blessing. We've got a lot of interviews, a lot of shows in Spanish and English. And just tune in for the next one, okay? God bless you. Love you guys. Le quiero dar el saludo, decirle el bye. Y pueden ver este programa y otros más en el millenniumbeat.com. Para el español, pueden entrar al Palpitar del Milenio, que está al lado, van a ver mi foto y pueden entrar ahí. Que el Señor les bendiga. God bless you. Los queremos mucho. We love you. Y hasta la próxima. Till next time.
If you would like to partner with us to reach the world, go to our website for more information. You can go to themillenniumbeat.com or tmb2000.net. Your financial support is greatly appreciated. We couldn't do all we do without your support. Check us out on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok at The Millennium Beat, or on Twitter at Millennium_Beat. This has been a Millennium Beat LLC production. Views and opinions of the guest are not always the views and opinions of the Millennium Beat LLC.